host Locke, and this is the podcast where we drink, smoke, and bullshit about the life of a historic criminal. Now we're talking outlaws and gangsters. We're not going to cover too many serial killers. That's just a little bit dark for me, and this ain't no true crime podcast. Honestly, you can't call this a history podcast because I'm no historian. I'm just a history fan that does some research and bullshits about it with his friends. So speaking of my friends, let me introduce you to my co-host. First with us today, we got Tank.
Hello.
And also with us today, we got Tone.
What up, dope?
All right, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
So for starters today, we're all kind of splitting a drink, kind of out of necessity, because if I tried to drink this big ass thing all by myself, I'd be getting gurneyed out of here. We got this Founder's Barrel Aged Imperial Stout, which is coming in at 12.5%. You guys all had a chance to drink yours or try yours?
Yes.
What do you think?
It looks like mud,
Pours like mud.
but tastes like heaven. I like it.
We use heaven as a descriptor in here pretty commonly. We really like our drinks, man.
I think we're a quality, not quantity crew, though, if that helps at all. Only slightly alcoholic. I'm sorry. I guess it's not funny to make jokes about that, but
No. Damn it, Tank.
yeah. So no,
Apologizing
man.
like always.
Yeah, I joked about it before that sometimes when I hit these barrel-aged brews, I almost want a warm-up beer to kind of take the edge off my tongue and let the super alcohol-y booziness go down easier. But this one, I don't think this one has that shocking, like, boozy flavor to it. So they did a good job at barrel aging it. I like the flavors. It is a thick brew, but it's not overpowering like in any of the flavors or tones, I guess. I think it's just a good balance on a barrel age. I mean, I dig it, bro.
Yeah, pouring it definitely pours like freaking motor oil.
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
I will say this, at the price point, it better be good, because it was $13 for this bottle, and that was on sale. I mean, luckily my Biden bucks already came in though, so.
Nice. Yeah.
Tonight.
What's sad is that's still my splurging. I bought a big Founders and some edibles.
Hey,
Well, I just splurged at Jack's bakery down there in Melvindale and bought me all these pepperoni rolls.
oh man.
Because I don't go down there too often, man. And it was open. We went to Hops and Barley's to get some food. And I'm like, oh shit, Jack's is open.
That's definitely a reason why we're friends. Like, you had to go stock up on pepperoni rolls. It's not water. It's not toilet paper. That is not a commodity, dude.
Well, the funny thing is that I tell my fiance, because she wanted Hops and Barley. She loves that place. So I'm like, I'll go get us some lunch. And then we drove by Jack's and it was open. I'm like, oh, can you buy me the pizza rolls? She was like, I got you on the pizza rolls. I come back with 4 of them, a freaking blueberry strudel, and some weird Italian thing that I don't even know what it is.
It's an impulse buy.
She was like, what the fuck did you buy? I'm like, did she look in the bag? She's like, damn, I got pizza rolls for the fucking whole week.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the difference. Is she says, damn, you got pizza rolls for the whole week. And I go, damn, you got pizza rolls for the whole week.
I'm like, no, and then I go, damn, I got pizza rolls for the next 2 days.
I wanted to thank listener, the Real Muck Man. So he's one of our listeners from Alaska. He's been real interactive on the social media lately, and he really loves the show.
Sweet.
And Alaska to me is one of my dream go-to places. Like, I'm a big guy, so to me a cruise ship, like, oh, that's a lot of hot and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to wear like bowling shirts and shit like that.
You'll be out there in Alaska with a t-shirt on, huh?
Right? Yeah. They show those Alaskan cruise. That shit looks beautiful. That's more my speed. You know what I mean? Cardigan weather on a cruise and shit.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Shout out Muktuk.
Before we get started, we got to make sure we thank Sixfo Sueno for letting us use his music in the intro. Follow him on Instagram at Sixfo Sueno. That's F-O-E. Also want to thank Cancer for letting us use his song in the mid-roll. You can find him on Instagram at Eyes Bleed Defiance, where he's got all his graphic art and photography. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Bad Guy Podcast. And if you're having hard times with any of the links, you can go to the website badguypodcast.com and click through there. And we also got a YouTube channel now, so go subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's new. We don't have all the episodes up, but we're easily pressured. You know what I mean? So go subscribe and bug us and shit, and we'll get to it. You know? If you ain't sweating it, we ain't sweating it.
That's how we work.
Well, go ahead and get started. And the bad guy we're covering today is Real Simard.
This ain't negotiation time. This is Scarface, final scene, fucking bazookas under each arm. Say hello to my little friend.
Real Simard. Is that his real name or is this like an alias?
Nope, that's it. No aliases. But when you got a name like Real,
Right.
you know, when you're the real deal Simard, you ain't gotta go by some bullshit nicknames and stuff. So Real Simard was born January 7th, 1951 in Montreal, the oldest of 5 children. He grew up in a middle-class home with a heavy drinking, abusive father. I know I've said this on the show a lot lately, but to me this is like typical build a bad guy from scratch.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
family of 5, alcoholic dad.
Sounds like my family.
Too many of us, brother.
His uncle on his mother's side of the family was an associate to Montreal Mafia boss Vic the Egg Catroni. At a young age, Real began to look up to mobsters and criminals as role models. So I think that makes it cross off the tic-tac-toe. Like, okay,
You're right.
big family, abusive dad, someone connected in the family.
Yep.
Bingo, we got us a bad guy. That's the old hat trick. So as a teenager, he joined a local street gang that primarily committed petty crimes like vandalism and car theft. Eventually, he put together his own crew and graduated to extortion and bank robberies. They would then party away most of their money. In the early 70s, one of his bank robbing accomplices was arrested and turned informant, and he snitched on Simard. So Simard was arrested and sentenced to 6 years in Parthenius Penitentiary in Montreal.
In his 20s.
Early 20s, too.
Yeah.
So probably didn't even get to do that real partying.
Well, back in that, if it was early 70s, then he was legal at 18, but still, I get what you're saying. You get into your hardcore shit in your college years. Well, most folks do.
So while he's in prison, he ends up locked up in the same wing with Vic the Egg's younger brother, Frank Catroni. And Frank sees him, and he knows his uncle. And he's like, why don't you just roll with me? And Frank Catroni takes Real under his wing. Real was young. He was a big kid. He was scrappy. So he begins working as Frank's unofficial prison security. And he was always by his side, and he considered him a mentor.
Thanks, Uncle Frank. You know, I was worried when I came in here, but you taught me some stuff, and I'll never forget that.
So here's Frank. Vic the Egg's ugly little brother, apparently.
And this is an older picture of him, too, so I'm sure, you know, back in his, well, you said that these pictures would have been around, so he was a little bit older in prison is what I'm babbling about then, huh? He was a bit closer to this picture age then?
Yeah, probably around this, maybe a little younger.
All right.
But,
all right. So I could see him being excited like a young dude comes in. He's like, hey, you know somebody? Hey, let's do this.
Well, so, yeah, he's probably down and he's probably gangster, but clearly he's a guy that's been living a bit of a comfortable life and is a little bit older. So, yeah, any kind of younger muscle, like,
Yep.
You're with us, kid. Get in here.
Yep.
Yeah, and you always want to grow your gang, right?
Yeah.
Especially in prison.
Halfway through their sentence, Vic gets diagnosed with cancer. And while still in prison, Frank took over as the acting boss of the family.
That was always one of my favorite mafia, organized crime little side stories, like how you could just be up in the clink. And I mean, I get it, man. Like, and if you're made man, you follow a rank and file, right? I get that part, but it was always just one of my like funny little things I'd chuckle about. The guy on the outside dies, and then the guy on the inside ends up being boss. It's like, damn, man, that's some fucking strict rules right there. You know what I mean?
I'm too sick with cancer to be the boss. Let my brother in prison do it.
But boss, he's in prison.
You know there's some guy that's out there on the street busting his ass every day. Like,
Yeah.
these motherfuckers, bro.
How do I get this guy killed in prison?
Anyways, I mean, that obviously works great for Frank, but it also works pretty good for Real. Because
Right
at
on.
first, he's just like, yeah, I can roll with you and stuff. Now, all of a sudden, he's number two's right-hand man.
Right.
Fucking A.
I just got moved up,
Just
bitch.
lucked into some shit.
A high tide raises all ships, man.
I said lucked into some shit. Somebody had to get cancer for that, but still, they're bad guys.
Riel's in there like, Victor Egg got cancer? Yes!
Yeah. And just like you said, the number 3's on the outside, like, fucking Frank, I'm hoping he's getting cancer too. Like, fucking, because I'm on the outside putting in the work, and that means I'm going to be the runner.
Real Simard, this motherfucker ain't even Italian. Who the fuck are you talking about? So, different dates, but Real and Frank both end up getting released from prison in 1979. And Real became his personal bodyguard and driver. Well, he would do everything for him. He'd run his errands, pick up his laundry, drive his friends and family to and from the airport, watch him when he's out at night.
Where does that lead the personal bodyguard to these mob bosses and stuff? Will they ever get like made and shit like that? Or since he's not Italian?
Correct. He's
Okay.
French Canadian.
He's French Canadian. So
he
yeah,
can't
he
be
could
made.
never be made anyways.
Right. So it's a trick question. It's a good question, but it's a trick question because I think one thing the podcast has taught us is that where it sounds shitty, driver / bodyguard is kind of a up and comer position because it's a under my wing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're kind of learning the ropes.
Right.
My right hand man.
Right.
Even though it sounds shitty, it sounds like your bitch job or whatever.
Right.
But, like, have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah, some of it.
It's kind of like when Jon Snow gets accepted and he thinks he's going to be a ranger because he's the best fighter, and he's got to be a steward, and he's pissed. He's like, what the fuck? I'm the best guy there. And they're like, yeah, but you're going to be the commander's right-hand man. But he's still like, fuck, but I'm a steward. But that steward is the best steward. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. You don't want to be a driver or bodyguard, but when you're a high-ups driver or bodyguard, you're learning a lot. But he also can never technically be made.
Right.
But
We've covered plenty of dudes that don't give a fuck if they get made before. You know, I mean, not plenty enough to where it's like a lot, but we've covered a couple dudes. So, I mean, I guess if you don't give a shit if you get made and you just care about making some cash and doing the thing that I guess you like, then, you know, you don't got to be made. But, I mean, I guess some dudes it would probably end up fucking pissing them off after a while, I would assume. So,
I mean, but you're pretty protected though, right? I mean, no one's really gonna touch the mob boss's bodyguard, right? No one's gonna fucking put a hit on him.
what puts you at a tough position with it is internal beefs. Because if there's an internal beef, I can't reach out and touch, you know what I mean, another made guy or a made boss. You need permission for all that. But yeah, I can technically kill his driver and he'll be pissed. There'll be a sit down or some, you know what I mean? That might start some shit, but that's technically not a death sentence.
Right.
So that's where it makes him a little bit more vulnerable. I see associate, it's almost like a contractor. Like some people are comfortable with that lifestyle. You get up and go when you want, don't have the tied in connection. If you're a made guy, you're there at beck and call for the rest of your fucking life. There's no retirement. There's no, like, there's a line from The Sopranos where he says, Junior Soprano says, what are we, in the Navy?
yeah. This ain't Ford.
Yeah.
30 and out shit.
You don't fucking retire. So personal driver / bodyguard is kind of a power position. At the end of the day, he still can't get made. So the two developed such a close relationship, Real would refer to him as uncle. A quote from Simard said that Frank was the first person to ever give him attention, love, and friendship. That nobody growing up ever paid attention to him. And he said, and Frank needed him. I had to take care of him. I was with him every day. It was my job to protect him. So it sounded like they needed each other. This fucking kid just needed somebody to give a fuck about him.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, the life cycle of a boss. He's at the point now where he needs somebody to watch his back 100% of the time, you know, which just kind of reinforces the shit I said earlier about there's probably somebody gunning for that fucker, you know.
That's the general, it's the way of that life. No matter what, there's always somebody kind of gunning for you. Even if they're not actively gunning for you, they got an option wrote up for that, just in case it happens. So Real was described as a good-looking heartthrob with the charm of a gigolo.
Okay.
So, I feel like somebody asked him, like, hey, Real, how would people describe you? Good-looking dude. Charm of a gigolo.
Oh, yeah. I'm one smooth motherfucker.
Frank Catroni, who always appreciated Real, he ends up putting him in charge of a Southwest Montreal nightclub. And Real immediately turns the nightclub into a huge success.
He's all life of the party and shit. He's like, hey, I got the fucking personality of a gigolo. Whatever, come to my nightclub. People, it's the fucking late 70s, early 80s, so people are just fucking blowing fucking cocaine every fucking night probably and shit, and had to
he's
do his
just out
fucking
there
nightclub.
giving everybody lap dances and shit.
The Montreal Mafia is considered by some connected to the Bonanno family. The Canadian government disagrees. They say it's an independent unit of itself, sometimes referred to as the Sixth Family. The Montreal Mafia was made up of two warring factions. There was the Calabrese faction, which was controlled by Frank Catroni, and then the Sicilian faction ran by the Rizzutos, which had been jockeying for control. The Sicilian faction of the family didn't like how close Frank and Riel were. Frank's niece also ended up marrying a French-Canadian guy who he worked closely with. They didn't understand becoming close associates with French-Canadians.
Really?
Which that part always puzzled me because of how Italian and Sicilian immigrants were treated when they came to this country. You know what I mean? So you figure they just live and let live.
So you want to have a policy of, I'm not trying to do business with French-Canadians while living in Montreal.
Right.
Hey, thanks for letting us come to this fucking country, and we appreciate the non-communism and shit, but can you guys keep your shit away from ours? Thanks.
Riel became anxious to prove his worth.
I'm gonna make Uncle Frank proud.
I'm getting like the Joey from Friends vibe from you guys talking.
On January 18th, 1980, he completed his first hit for the family. He killed a guy named Michael Fatso Marion.
Yeah. That's the name I want if I become a mobster.
He walked up on Fatso Marion while he's eating breakfast at the Saint Adele restaurant and shot him 3 times. This is the second time this season of the podcast that a guy with fat in his nickname has been killed eating breakfast. Pure coincidence. Not on purpose. Like, I didn't plan that out. Just different stories doing the research. One was in fucking Boston. This guy's in Montreal. But yeah, both nickname. One was Fats. One's Fatso. Shot eating breakfast.
Can you believe that shit? Fatso just eating his breakfast. And you know, what the fuck, man? The guy can't even eat his breakfast.
So they're just killing fat guys at breakfast all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, oh, you gotta get Fats McGee at breakfast time while he's eating dinner.
Well, that's when their guard's down, right?
Right. That's the most, because they're over here like.
I mean, if we're being fair, I love me some breakfast.
Right.
So
I mean, I
if
just
you're
love
gonna
me some
come
food.
After me, then you probably would come after me.
You can come at me, breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Like,
It's the best time to
catch.
catch.
Pancakes and sausage. Pancakes and sausage.
Dude, if you catch me on the weekend, like I'll have rolled like I ain't stretched or nothing. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit stiff in the fucking kitchen.
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, either way, I'm gonna fall asleep after I eat it anyway. Right. So I mean, there's a good 2-hour period right there that you could come get me at.
That was it too. They caught him in his after breakfast nap. So like the cops said, like they killed him while he was eating breakfast, but really Fatso was like, man, that breakfast was delicious. I'm gonna go.
He's getting ready for second breakfast.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap. And they got him while he was fucking sleeping and shit.
Later that same year, December 13th, Simard completed his second hit, and he ambushed and gunned down reputed Sicilian mobster Nicholas Morello as he left a St. Leonard bar.
And this is during the wars between the two families, right?
Yeah, so this is like mid-war of the two families. After the Morello hit, 6 months later, June 4th, 1981, Simard committed his third hit for the family when he killed a coke dealer and suspected informant Giuseppe Montagano. Giuseppe was brought to a bar owned by Frank's son, and the plan was to kidnap him and kill him at a second location. But while they were there, Giuseppe started getting squirrely and tried to take off, and Simard shot him twice in the head.
Suspected informant or known informant?
Suspected informant, but he's a coke dealer. I don't think it takes a lot to... I mean, you're at war anyways. Some accusations you don't come back from.
Yeah, and even still, like, if this guy was a coke dealer for the other side and his dumbass was showing up to a bar owned by Frank's son, then fucking this guy's a stupid motherfucker, too.
Or he might have been shady, so there's that too. Is sometimes these guys get caught up and killed, because they're kind of thinking they're in on some double cross.
Oh, you're right. I mean, I didn't even, that flew right over my head. He's a fucking suspected informant. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get some dirt on the other side. Fuck it. Hell yeah, I'm going to Frank's son's bar. And all right. Well, you wrote your own fucking ticket there.
So by now, there's no doubt to his usefulness as a gangster. And now he's the most feared hitman in the Catroni family.
You see this undrafted free agent I signed in the clink? And you watch, man. You thought Tom Brady was a good draft pick. Real has got the juice, baby.
So around this time, a guy named Michael Poza was the primary money launderer for the Montreal Mafia. Now they're in the war, and it seems like the tide might be starting to turn. And he goes to work exclusively for the Sicilian faction. And the Catroni faction clearly doesn't like that. On the night of September 17th, 1982, Simard met Michael for a drink. And then in the early hours of the morning, he shot him twice in the head in a car in front of his home.
His personality obviously works with no matter who's around him, the ladies, the men, because I mean, obviously this guy's got some slick shit in his sleeve. If he can get somebody who jumped to the other side to come have drinks with him, it's like, damn, these dudes keep falling for it. It's like first, not first, but the one was the drug dealer who, came to Frank's son's club, and now this guy like, yeah, I'll come hang out and fucking go on a bros night with the people I just switched sides from and shit.
I know y'all don't like him, but sure.
Yeah.
I always liked you.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
You keep it real.
You know how many times this guy got me laid? He's got the personality of a gigolo.
And plus, he was giving them lap dances.
Now a rising star in the family and having had success with nightclubs in the past, Simard was sent to Toronto to establish a foothold for the Montreal family in the Toronto club scene. This area was predominantly ran by Johnny Papalia on behalf of the Buffalo crime family.
Makes sense. Like a hour and a half, 2 hours from Buffalo, I think.
You got Riel working for the Catroni family, who's representing the Bonanno family, going to Toronto to deal with a Toronto mobster that's representing the Buffalo family. They arrange a sit down between the two families, and they come to an agreement where they decide to let Simard move into the Toronto territory to set up clubs in return for Johnny being able to set up his pinball and vending machines in the clubs.
You know movies, so I know you've seen Tommy.
Tommy?
I had to hold back, man. I almost hit the high notes on that shit. You seen Tommy? Fucking weird ass movie. About the blind guy.
Movie?
Yeah. About the blind
I
kid
see.
who plays fucking
Pinball.
pinball. Eventually they put him in this weird like fucking sarcophagus looking shit. Fuck, this fucking wild, man.
It's like the Who or some shit.
My mom let me watch that movie when I was like 10, bro. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Diana Ross or fucking whoever the fuck was, what the fuck's happening? But anyways, when you said that, I had to hold back.
Well,
Pinball was big back then, man. It was big money. Pinball, vending machines, cigarette vending machines, like that shit was making people millionaires back then. And I could never fathom it, but I found out later on in life as I met a dude who made a fuck ton of money off pinballs and cigarette machines and gentlemen's clubs and stadiums and shit like that. Like I didn't even realize, like, but that shit adds up, man.
One of the most powerful guys that we've talked about, Tony Accardo, was an early adapter to vending machines and slot machines, just anything you could pump money into. And every store has one, and you just collect a little at a time, a little bit at a time, and it's easier to make that money liquid, so it's good for money laundering purposes. Also, it's just a fucking cash cow. And it sounds really silly, like, well, we want to set up a bunch of clubs, like, okay, if we can do the pinballs and the vending, but that's a hell of a fucking deal, because if this guy's going to set up a happening club in the 80s, everybody's going to be over there partying around the fucking pinball machine, because that was like the machine that you could punch that tells you how hard you punch at all the bars now.
Yeah.
That was like the pinball machine of that time. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take us a quick smoke break, refill our drinks, and we'll be back in a minute.
like hot lava. Pop bottles, molotovs tossed and rocks follow. Ominous disciples like vipers, they strike quickly. Command me like an army, I'm tearing you down with me. Spit like a baron, rulers of bread like Kaiser. Roll with the goal and get beaten like outsiders. These amateur animals swing in the wrong jungle. Climbing the wrong vines mean these lions will snuff you. Concrete wilderness building our own structures. Writing our own order, appointing our own judges. Overthrowing authority, morally lack conscience. Fighting for survival with rivals with throat punches. Monitor the area carrying curved swords. Slither in the brush till we crush them with brute force. Men storming the harbor with armored attack armaments. Calling all guards to swarm them and skin their faces for ornaments. Order more troops to corner them, Agent Orange and mortar them. Kill them all, just destroy them and let your guy get to sorting them. Code of honor corroded as soon as it was awarded. Celebrations were thwarted before they could be supported. Rolling thunder bombarded them, flaming dart put a part in them. Separate and disarm them and send the bulls to the parliament. Operation Niagara, Viet Cong in the battle with landmines and grenades and flamethrowers to scatter them. Dear mama, this battle is harder than what we thought it'd be. Every part of me scarred, I'll be recognized when they mortar me. It's almost time to run, put on your army helmets now. You're running toward the sun with all your guns, defenses down. Flashes everywhere, the lights create an atmosphere. Water in your lungs, you pray for death, but life is here. You're about to die, face it, you're about to die. Zero sand in your glass, fuck it, you can't even cry. Put a dagger to your neck, just to keep yourself in check. Put a dagger to your neck, just to keep yourself in check. Everybody grab a side as you fight to stay alive. Dancing on a hand grenade so you can die and they survive. Silver bullets in the sky, dropping 7-second death. Scattering the children, run, rub until there's nothing left. Ashes in the water, sons and daughters holding flags up high. Wallow in the harbor as the military tanks arrive. Penetrate the border with disorder like an animal. Every war has the honor of turning kings into cannibals.
All right, we're back. So Tank, what's this beer that we got here?
This is Primer Double IPA from Holmes Brewery. It's delicious. Holmes has their hazy double IPA game down tight. It's strong, but it hides it with its flavors. And you guys know how we do with the Holmes. We're fanboys, and this one is just another one on their list, man. Like a 5 out of 5, right, fellas? I mean, what do you say?
I would say 5 out of 5. It's really good.
Well, I think as much as I jock Founders on their dark beers, I think Holmes has like the hazy IPA game down.
For sure.
You know, they're the go-to. I think they're a little dangerous. Like, that's why I'm glad we shared this one, because that was... So we've had 2 beers today that if I would have just drank the whole thing.
Right.
Yep. Dangerous is right, because they hide that alcohol with their flavors, and you can't tell how strong it is by the initial, drink. So shout out to Holmes, man, on their IPA game. It's strong as fuck.
So when we left off, Real Simard had set up shop in Toronto, setting up a string of clubs. He started doing really well. In Toronto, he started going by the name David. Kind of random.
Yeah.
So I guess he did have an AKA earlier. He was like, no AKAs? Like,
Real smart, David.
Real smart.
David bought into an agency called Prestige Entertainment.
Sound like
Prestige worldwide, baby.
Prestige
Boats and
Entertainment.
hoes.
boats.
Right? No, it was Prestige but either
It was
way,
Prestige Worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this sounds like an escort service.
That was the fucking Step Brothers and shit.
Yeah.
Prestige Worldwide. That's awesome.
But actually, your initial reaction, you ain't too far off. The agency was called Prestige Entertainment, and it was an agency that would hire Quebec strippers to Ontario nightclubs, and it was a cash cow. So Montreal was a big party town. Toronto was a popping area. It was right closer to America. So they was just swapping girls back and forth. Prestige Entertainment, baby.
Yes, sir.
Finest titties on the market.
Don't complicate shit. Just take them from one city to the other.
Yeah, so this was cash cow. So financially, he's like a huge earner. You know what I mean? He was like a big shot with one club. Now he's running this whole city. So he's got all these clubs, and he's got this. He's running strippers from city to city. And then he meets up with a guy. They want to set up a drug dealing network of dealers in all the clubs across Toronto.
I mean, to be honest, you got a nightclub dealing nightclub. You're cornering markets with incorporating that into your fold, right? So, shrewd move and not a bad business plan if you're already into legal shit.
So you got the club, you got the girls, you got the pinball machine, you got the cigarette machine.
The liquor comes with the club. I mean, every fucking market is cornered.
Yeah, they're selling drugs in here. We got that too. So we get a piece of everything.
It's like the movie theater. Like, you go to the club, you're like, do you bring your own shit? You're like, oh, no, I forgot it. You're like, fuck, you're going to pay so much money. These guys fucking got everything handled. Like, should have brought your fucking Quaaludes with you, all right?
So Simard brings in a guy named Richard Clement to oversee the operation.
Hey, I know a guy.
And the two of them just start raking in the cash. They pretty much spend most of their time enjoying like the high life on the Toronto party scene. Later that year, he finds out about two Montreal gangsters, a guy named Mario Hero and Robert Hitu. They were involved in drug operations, and they come into town to Toronto, and they end up killing Richard Clement. Hold on. They didn't kill Richard Clement. They were in town to kill Richard Clement.
And we all remember the reason why he got sent down to Toronto was his prowess in taking care of motherfuckers who step on toes and shit. So I'm curious to find out.
On November 29th, 1983, Riel and Clement went to their hotel room and knocked on the door. When the two answered the door, Simard shot him in the head. Then he went in the room and shot Hero in the head 5 times, and they both left.
I'm trying to be the nightclub king of Toronto, and you want to come here and fucking start some shit? I'm going to put you down 5 to the fucking goddamn.
They killed his moneymaker, right?
Yeah, they came to town to kill his moneymaker and shit, and they fucking... Well, let me show you the reason why I got sent down here to Toronto, because I handled the business and the fucking...
So, I'm sorry, but did they, like, attempt to kill him, or he just found out, like, someone, like, ratted him out, and like, hey, these dudes are down here to kill your boy?
Well, somebody ratted him out, apparently, but for all we know... Richard Clement could have just not liked him. Yeah. Been like, hey, I think these guys are in town to kill me. I don't know. Right. I don't really know the story. I know they didn't like Rich Clement, and that was his guy that run the drug operation, and they were in town to kill this guy, or maybe not kill the guy. Maybe he owed him money. Either way. But does it matter, baby? Come on, this is Toronto, man. Come on, what are we doing?
Yep.
What are they going to move in? What do they want next? The smokes?
These guys are bad for business.
I mean, yeah, these motherfuckers got everything cornered. You're not coming into their shit and touching anything without them knowing. So you're right, man. They probably came in town and it was instantly popped up on their radar. Like, yeah, we've been through this game before. The drug dealer, what's his name, at Frank's fucking son's place and shit. Like, people keep on trying to come close, and we got to keep on fucking showing them why we're the boss around here.
So you said he blasted him in the head 5 times?
Yeah, so the guy opened the door and he shot him in the head, and then he went in and shot the other guy in the head 5 times.
Damn. Was it just for fun for him, or like was the guy still moving?
I don't know. I think usually they unload guns. So these guys at some point they're just so cold that they're just doing it and shit, and they just unload it. Especially a lot of times if they're leaving it. What does it matter if they shoot it once or they shoot it 15 times? Well, because you also hear about the guy Ken Edo got shot 3 times and lived. You can't
but back then there were
right,
we discussed that they were like refilling their own bullets and shit, right?
Yeah, they were doing janky shit with their bullets. I mean, maybe you go with 5 times in the head because you're a professional and you want to make sure, like.
That's
you
true.
know.
Or maybe because he did it because I took the effort to put these extra bullets in here.
Yeah.
Well, if you're really good, you wiped everyone down, by hand and shit.
Yeah,
Like, man, I'm
you
gonna
took
waste
the
5 clean
time.
bullets and shit.
Right.
Don't come here and not expect 5 in your fucking body, right?
Shit.
Well, and here's the reason you put 5 in the head is because the next day Simard finds out through the news that Robert Hatu had survived.
What?
So the guy he shot once in the head lived. So the guy opened the door and he shot him in the head, and then went in and shot the other guy in the head 5 times. Well, the first guy lived.
Dang. So he walked over that motherfucker, shot the other guy 5 times, and then fuck, I ran out of bullets. Should have wasted the 5 bullets on this guy.
See, we were speculating
Should've shot
and giving
4
way
times.
too much credit for that. Whoops. Fuck. Okay. God damn.
Downfall here.
Well, look, this is an important lesson, though.
Mhm.
So on this podcast, we never have to ask again, well, why would you shoot him 5 times in the head? Why
That's
would you
why.
shoot him 9 times in the head? Why would you? Well, because you shot him 1 time in the head and he lived.
Yep.
So now we have twice. This guy shot once. Canetto shot 3 times. Whatever. However many you got.
Fever.
5
Yeah.
is the magic number.
You could have at least went 3 and 3. You went 1 and 5.
Yeah.
So you know what that does tell me? Revolver.
Yeah. Yep.
It can't be a coincidence that it adds up to 6.
Right.
It's half and half.
Use the 22 maybe.
Something. Big head. I got a big head. I don't know. If someone could take one off their dome, it'd be me.
Yeah.
So he finds out Robert Hatu survives. He tries to go on the run, but he's quickly caught. And he gets convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. And over the next couple years, the Sicilian faction, led by the Rizzutos, completely takes over the Montreal Mafia. The war decimated the smaller Calabrese controlling family, and they continued to operate, but kind of like as an independent operation, under Frank with limited rackets, but they was able to maintain.
So what you're saying is my friend Real was the one who was holding it all together, huh?
He's keeping the Sicilians at bay.
Shit, man.
The second he was gone, the Sicilians were like, yeah, where's your French Canadian? That's why you don't depend on the French Canadians, because look, he went to Toronto, did a bunch of coke, and now he's fucking gone.
Is the Italian mafia still that same way nowadays, do you know, where you have to be Italian to get made? Because if not, maybe they should change their policy, man. You know what I mean? Like, they should have made... I mean, I'm not saying they'd making them would have kept him out of prison, right? But either way, like, you had a stud here, man. Like I said, undrafted motherfucking free agent and shit. Make this motherfucker, man. He was the glue holding you together and shit.
Probably earning hand over fist, so you're kicking back a bunch of money. Everybody's afraid to make a move because you got this pit bull on your side.
It's wild to think that shit. All right, let's get this scenario. You got this motherfucker and he's just running clubs and shit, and everybody's scared of fucking with him. Like, look, you gonna go fuck with this guy? Like, this, you talking about the dude who runs nightclubs and shit? Fuck yeah, I ain't scared of no pussy that runs nightclubs and shit. Well, you should have been, because there was a dude keeping the glue together and shit.
Simard was sent to Archibald Prison in July 1986. Now, it was a medium to minimum security prison, so it wasn't even a tough prison. But not long into his stay, he survived an attempt on his life by several inmates. So he got jumped by a bunch of dudes in prison.
Oh.
And he got real nervous, and he thought that Frank was trying to set him up to have him killed in prison. I don't know why. I don't have a lot else to go with the story why it would justify that, but I know that's what he thought.
Maybe because he think Frank was mad because the whole fucking shit went to shit after he left.
All right, maybe you weren't supposed to be killing people.
Fucked everything up.
It doesn't take a lot, I guess. Well, you're an associate. You're not even the main guy. So once you fuck up, we can cut that tie real quick.
Yeah.
I can put a new guy in there.
Well, I mean, I guess, he's already in prison, so maybe he wants to get a lighter sentence and start snitching on shit that they don't know about yet,
Wait, you're telling me that a dude who was blowing yay in fucking clubs and now he's in prison and don't got no yay and can't blow that shit is getting paranoid? I'm fucking buying in. Fucking, is Frank after me? Fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm in this fucking prison cell. I don't fucking know.
It's gotta be Frank, right? It's gotta be Frank, man. Is that the helicopter? You see the helicopter?
Side note, though, you said 86, right?
Yeah.
So 35 years, man, that's a fucking wild. This is like one of my favorite things to say. Man, that's a wild 6 years. You know what I mean? But either way, fellas, what the right? You said 79. I think he got out of prison the first time.
Yeah.
Man, what a motherfucking 6-7 years. hammered to know the math, but what a motherfucking 6 years, man. God damn.
He got after it.
Hell yeah, he did. Shit, dude. No fucking slouch.
In a mere 7 years, he went from out of prison, picking up Frank's laundry, dropping off people at the airport, to fucking running the Toronto mob scene.
Fucking locking it down and then back into the clink again.
Back where it all began. So he thinks Frank's out to get him, and he's not going to be able to survive in prison. And Simard decides to turn informant. Simard confessed to 5 murders and told them everything he knew about the Montreal criminal empire from top to bottom.
Damn! Motherfuck, man. I don't even know why I'm so mad right now, but what?
See, I mean, most of these guys don't start snitching until attempt on their life, but yeah, I mean, we don't know for sure if they were really trying to get him or not, but if I didn't do anything and a bunch of dudes just try to jump me for no reason, then someone's had something to do with it.
Right. They didn't jump me last time when I was here with Frank.
Right, we was just eating lunch together a week ago, and now.
But you're Frank now, man. You know what? Fuck. See, I'm all messed up now on the made, unmade shit, because I guess if you're made and you're up in the clink, then that kind of shit don't happen, possibly, but damn. Damn on both fronts that you, the attempt, and damn that you decided, well, I'm at the point now where I'm all right with converting, I guess you could say. Shit.
So his testimony convicted Frank, his son, and 2 other mob guys, and they were all arrested on October 10th, 1986.
Uncle Frank's fucking pissed.
What the fuck? You snitched on my kid?
Fucking.
Could have just snitched on me. You snitched on my kid? But ultimately, all of them, they all got convicted, but none of them got convicted of much. And Frank ended up getting the most with 8 years. So Frank got 8 years. Everybody got less than that.
Maybe he was go back off the gigolo shit from the past. Maybe he was a lover, not a fighter, you know. But I don't know, man. Frank fucking liked him because he was the muscle the first time around. Maybe he just was away from that point in his life where maybe he didn't know how to beat a muscle no more. I don't know, but fuck, man.
Maybe he was the muscle. They didn't get him. But he was like, well, fuck, how many times can I fight off a bunch of dudes?
You got me there. I'm with you there, man.
So I got attacked. Like, I'm alive still. I'm in prison. Got jumped by a bunch of dudes. I made it out. But fuck, is this what I'm going to do now?
Yeah, I'm not made. What's going to happen when I get out of here?
I got to try and find a new Frank.
I got to find some Franks around and shit.
Yeah, does anybody needs muscle? I'm new muscle prison again and shit.
Right.
I'm back at the fucking beginning.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go the fuck back to the beginning. Real Simard, you're not a made man. We don't like French Canadians. Fuck off.
Yep.
And you guys lost the war. The Sicilians are in charge.
Yep.
Fuck off.
I got into all this because I had what's his name's back.
Frank.
No, not Frank.
Richard Clement.
That's it. Mr. Clement. He should have let Clement handle his own business.
Well, he could have found a new drug dealer somewhere.
What I think it is that drug money. You look at drug money versus
smokes.
The smokes and the stuff like that's consistent over time, but that drug money is big money now. And then this other guy's like, hey, here's your bag of quarters from the pinball machine. But you know what didn't get him in prison? Pinball machines. Fucking cigarette machines. You know what I mean? Right. The cigarette machine guys never said, hey, let's just kill him.
Slow money, baby.
Get rich slow.
That's right.
Get rich quick is gone. Get rich slow. Real Simard got day paroled in 1990 and full parole in 1994.
What is day parole?
They just let him out for the day. I mean,
really? Okay.
Gotta be back at a certain time.
Yeah, they let you out in the morning. You gotta go back to prison at night.
Maybe if I knew about that, I forgot about that. But anyways, that's interesting.
So yeah, did that for a couple years, did good, and they eventually full paroled him. He went
right. So like the fucking farm leagues of parole. All right.
We know he's a good prospect. He always does good if you put him in a prospect situation. He was gigoloing his way through fucking day parole.
Give him an inch.
He went by the name Michael Rosselli, and he claimed that reading a French translation of Out on a Limb, which is like a spiritual, like a new age spiritual book by American actress Shirley MacLaine. He said that convinced him that he had a soul and taught him the belief of a reality of reincarnation.
Ooh, so before this point, was he psychopathic or sociopath? No, psychopathic is the worst one, right? Is like the one where
psychopath means you can't love people or anything like that.
Okay.
So sociopaths will still love people. They just don't
Thank you,
function
Shirley.
regular.
Thanks, Shirley. You made him love.
You taught him that he had a soul. So Shirley MacLaine wrote a book about like reincarnation and all this crazy shit, and he read it and he was like, "Yeah, I got a soul. I'm gonna be reincarnated. So, like, why would I kill people anymore? You know, that's ridiculous."
Put that behind me.
I'm Michael Rosselli.
I'm riveted to find out what that achieves him.
So he picks like an Italian last name and shit.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that. I'm gonna get made. God damn it.
I'm Rosselli now.
Okay, so when I was doing the research, I didn't think about it that much until you start talking it out. Like, that might have been a bigger thing his whole life. Because, yes, he did go to an Italian name.
He wanted to be Italian this entire time.
Since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
When his uncle knew Vic the Egg and shit. God damn it.
Damn straight. And earlier I was like, bro, you gotta be made, man. Like, maybe he could have followed the path of other dudes that didn't give a fuck if they're made. And the whole time he was like, no, man, I want to be made.
Yeah, he wanted to be made the entire time.
I want to be Italian.
Yeah, I want to be Italian.
Look at my dad. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
I want to be like Uncle Frank.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Uncle Frank, you're my daddy.
But yeah, most experts said he seemed completely rehabilitated. So they let him out. He became active in the Quebec separatism movement, and he started working in the political field as an aide and later a campaign manager. So I don't know if you know about the Quebec separatist movement, but they want to just separate Quebec and start like their own country and just be like a little French country in the middle of Canada or something like that.
I do remember that because this was mid-90s.
Yeah.
Yep. So even though I was young, I do remember this movement.
So it seemed like while he was chugging along, and some of it might have been due to his political influence, that might have made him some enemies, and he was already like a lot of like law enforcement didn't like him because he got out. It seems like someone in law enforcement might have went to political connections that were employing him and told him who his real identity is and told him that like, hey, he's actually really like a hitman that's in witness protection. He's not Michael Rosselli. So they fired him. But yeah, he gets fired from his political shit, and it really seems like law enforcement people set him up and told on him that he was really a criminal and shit.
Sure. Yeah,
Law
he helped
enforcement.
Quebec become their own little country, and he gets the biggest strip club he ever wanted.
Okay, question 1. Who's running the cigarette machines?
Right.
Who's going to run our cigarette machines, man?
Who's running a pinball machine? This is the 90s, bro. We got Genesis.
Hey, but he would be right because nowadays we're back to cigarette machines and fucking pinball and shit. You could pop that shit in any fucking bar or nightclub and make a fucking fortune off it. So
He just wanted Quebec to be one big nightclub.
yeah, I just want to party, bro. I want to be Italian and party.
Yeah.
So once he gets fired, he starts having financial issues and he turns to welfare fraud. And he ends up getting caught. It's like an extreme misdemeanor, and he actually has the $3,500. So they say he defrauded him out of $3,500 of welfare money. And he's like, well, dude, I'm sorry, I got $3,500. I'll give you back. And they're like, well, no, that's a parole violation. You got to go back for your life terms and shit.
Oh, man. That's fucked up.
But he finds out, and before they can get to him, he escapes and he completely disappears. So while he was gone, what he did was he moved to Latin America as a missionary. He married a local woman and he had a kid. But
Last thing I thought you were going to say, fucking Latin. All right, man. Yeah. Hey, get far away. If they're looking for you, get far away. Fucking A, man.
They don't come south of the border.
But he's always telling his wife, he's like, Quebec, though, man. The separatist movement, though, is where we need to be.
You want to go back to Quebec?
So he takes his family and he moves back to Quebec.
What the fuck's wrong with it?
God damn it, Real.
Dude.
What the fuck?
He was just keeping it real.
Well,
When keeping it real goes wrong.
look, I am from Quebec, okay?
The Quebec movement, okay?
So Real Simard was found in 2004 under an assumed identity working as a security guard at Montreal's most prestigious private school. He was discovered and arrested, and he's now redoing his life sentences, and his parole has been declined. He's no longer allowed to apply for parole.
Sounds like he wasn't possibly reformed, man. I mean, I'm not trying to get bleeding hard on it, but, I mean, he went down, he got a wife, brought her back up to his home. You said he was a teacher, and...
He's a security guard.
Oh. Boom, 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 boom. Well, all right. Well,
But it was a good private school.
maybe he was fucking reformed, I guess. I don't know, but
How bad do you have to love Quebec that you will go back there to work as a security guard over staying in Latin America with your new family?
I don't know, man. That's a really dumb move. You know he was gonna get caught. I mean, you fled, right? That's where he left. Quebec, right? That's where
Yeah.
he was locked up at.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go back? You don't think they're gonna see you like marching along like?
Is that Real Simard?
You're right. No, what was his name?
Oh, Michael Rosselli.
No, that's Michael Rosselli. So did he change his name when he went to Latin America? Like, was he something else? Was he Jose Gonzalez?
Miguel Rodriguez.
Miguel Rodriguez?
damn, man. Just an interesting.
You could just call me David.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck, man? Like, what an interesting fucking story, man. You the man for this one, bro. That's a good find.
All right. So that's the story of Real Simard.
So say good night to the bad guy. Go on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
So now you guys haven't seen the picture yet, but if we were gonna cast a movie about Real Simard, before I show you guys a picture, who would you cast to play him?
I don't have a guess, but I'm just gonna the dude that just plays Joey.
I didn't want to say that because I was leaving it for you because you said it earlier. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna.
He is Italian.
Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc.
Right? Is he?
No,
he's-
Matt
he's-
LeBlanc.
oh, he's
LeBlanc
not
actually.
Italian?
LeBlanc
I was
sounds
like,
French.
French as fuck,
Yeah.
right? That's what I thought. Like, because French dudes can have that weird olive skin complexion too.
Yeah, but he
man.
plays it Italian on like
Not
everything, right?
weird. I mean, I'm Italian. But,
You're
fuck,
right.
I'm rude.
But no, yeah, I believe his name is Matt LeBlanc,
Right.
which sounds French to me. But he did play Joey Tribbiani.
Yeah.
So my deal is, I'm always going back to. I want to say he's from Boardwalk Empire. Oh man, he's got dark skin and dark hair. Do the magic.
You talking about the guy that was
editing.
on the other guys too, like a big, tall Italian guy? Is it this guy, Bobby Cannavale?
Man, that looks like him, dude.
Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, the cop from Ant-Man.
So I got the other guy.
Well, if it's not, then that's the guy I picked based on whoever you thought. So here's the pictures of Real Simard.
All right. Picture on the left looks like the guy from named Jesse from Full House could play him.
Oh yeah, that's
John Stamos.
John
John
Stamos.
Stamos.
This other picture, he looks like Pink from Dazed and Confused.
Oh yeah, that guy. That's
Right, he does he's got kind of a Stallone look, maybe like an early young Stallone look, but yeah.
Puffy hair.
Lean Stallone.
Yep.
All right, well here's another picture. It's a little rougher.
That's a little more Stallone, man. I
Yeah.
like the lip. The lip and the eyes seem slightly Stallone. But yeah, you're
little
right.
saggy, a little slow.
I could see why the ladies would like him and why he'd be considered like, we covered it before, swarthy kind of fella.
The next picture, this is the last picture we got of Real Simard. So this is one of my favorite pictures as far as like a mugshot of a guy we ever had. So the reason we're covering him is because of this picture.
Dude, that's got like a Scarface fucking kind of vibe to it, that V-neck fucking.
So, I mean, is this like a mugshot?
Yeah.
Okay, so it must have been like a woman cop taking that photo. He's like,
he was coming. he was
I feel like-
coming down.
I feel like he thought that was sexy.
yeah.
He was coming down, man. They pulled him out of the nightclub after this photo and shit.
Yeah.
That definitely Stallone for sure. Like
Sorry,
80s
before-
Stallone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of cokeheads, but he's sidewinding like a motherfucker. So now we gotta do the DEFCON scale. Standard DEFCON scale is 5 to 1, 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest. But on the Bad Guy podcast, there's no good guys. So 5 is Lee Murray, who's your crack dealing, bank robbing, kidnapper. And one is the Purple Gang, who's got multiple gang wars, multiple massacres, and they kill people on the street. So on a scale of Lee Murray to the Purple Gang, where would you rate Real Simard?
I'm gonna give him a 2.
That was yeah. I didn't keep track on like how many kills he got, but I remember there be quite a few. I would say he's about a 2, maybe 3. No, he's a 2. It's for sure a 2.
I struggled on the 2 and the 3, but I'm gonna give him a 2 because you can shoot one dude 2 times and he's dead, but you decide to unload a whole clip in him. And I guess the argument could be, well, maybe he unloaded a whole clip because he was scared, or he just pulled the trigger 5 fucking times or whatever. But anyways, when you shoot a dude fucking 5 times in a row, you know he's dead. I struggled on giving him a 2 or a 3, and I went on the 2 just because of the murders that he would take on to impress the mob that he couldn't be made by and shit. I feel good giving him a 2. What do you think, Locke?
I definitely think that a 2 is good because I think body count wise, he's at the low end of a 2. He's not a huge killer, but he also was at it like 7 years, which we talked about earlier. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of action in a short amount of time.
Yeah, he got a lot of action in those 7 years.
Yeah, so if he'd have been out of prison a little longer, been a little slicker, we seen his modus operandi. We seen how he fixed problems. So it's not always about, you know, how much damage you do or whatever. It's where your mindset is. But he's a 2. He's clinging to the bottom of 2, but he's a lower 2 class, I'm sure.
I think Dan would definitely want us to give him a 2.
So we're going to go ahead and call him a unanimous DEFCON 2.
Take it to DEFCON 2.
You heard that, gentlemen? DEFCON 2.
All right, before we go, you guys got anything?
That picture's awesome.
So this will for sure be on Instagram. Go follow us on Instagram, Bad Guy Podcast. And,
fuck, man. Nobody else is having regrets on a 2. Does anybody else think it should have been a 3?
No, I think 2's good.
Yeah, you think
yeah,
2's
yeah,
all right?
for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Look, you kill for money.
Yeah.
To me, 3s are like gangsters that put up some bodies working their way up the food chain.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they shot a dude once in the back of the fucking head, and that was it, right?
All right, this is Say Hello to the Bad Guy. Thanks for coming, and thanks for listening.